give every player that I've ever had, whether it's been at Indiana, at West Point, whether it's been a kid that I've had on the Pan American or the Olympic team. And it's what I want from the guys that are working for me, i.e. my players. I, in talking to my players, want them to understand that we work together. But in my own mind, I have to know that they really work for me. And I've got to make decisions based on them working for me. And my ability to be decisive, I think, or your ability to be decisive, is very often the key ingredient in how much your roles can be expanded in any given situation. This is what I want out of a player. This is what I would want out of an insurance agent. An Indiana basketball player can come in any size, shape, or color. There is no common denominator except a love for the game and a desire to get the most out of his abilities. He's not only proud of his strengths, but understands his weaknesses. He is first of all concerned with the good of his team and knows that individual recognition comes through team excellence. An Indiana player has the enthusiasm of an evangelist, the discipline of a monk, the heart of a warrior, and never loses the honesty and character of a small boy. He appreciates the thousands of fans, but he's much more aware of the example he is setting for some youngster watching from the sideline. He's happy when he scores a bucket, but he never forgets that it was a teammate who threw him the ball, enabling him to do so. While he never lets up at either end of the floor, the other team is not his real opponent. It's the full extent of his own potential that he's constantly trying to beat. He lets the referees, with occasional assistance from his coach, do the officiating. An Indiana player is made, not born. Too many times we take the approach that, well, no, he doesn't really understand, when in fact we haven't done a particularly good job teaching that person what it is that he should understand. He's constantly striving to reach his potential, knowing that he will bypass others who can't withstand the strain of this quest for excellence. Realizes that the challenges and competitions of today's game will better prepare him for tomorrow's world. He knows that the true measure of his performance is not recorded in wins and losses, but in how much of himself he has given to the play. An Indiana player can never realize when odds are stacked against him. He can only be defeated by a clock that happens to run out of time. He's what a small boy wants to become, and what an old man can look back upon with great pride that he once was. Now, if I can get players to follow this, then we're going to have a pretty damn good basketball team. It's preparation. It's moving toward a goal. Larry talked about goals, and after one goal, there's another goal, and beyond that, there's another goal. And there isn't, success is not all that difficult to achieve. But the true measure of a person's, a department's, a company's ability to succeed is, I think, in constant and continued success. Roles, I mentioned being decisive. I had a kid that played for me at West Point. One of your people, John Houston, has a son that's associated with this guy now in his position as head of helicopter design at Georgia Tech. He played for me at West Point, and he couldn't shoot the ball. He couldn't stand here and hit the floor more than once out of 5 times if he dropped the ball. Terrible shooter. We're playing Penn State one day, and he's done a hell of a job. They've got a scorer named Carver Clinton, who'd averaged 23 points a game, and this kid, Danny Schrage, had held him scoreless to this point. Midway through the second half, we developed a really good lead, We shoot, we miss, Shrivey gets the rebound. About 10 feet from the basket. One of those things that happens in every game where nobody's close to him. He can't resist the temptation to shoot. He's got no chance of making it. He goes up, he shoots it, he misses. Fortunately, we get the rebound, and I call time. They come over and sit down, and I usually don't get particularly some 18 or 19-year-old kid doesn't do just what the hell I want him to do. But I was a little miffed on this one. I grabbed Shrivey's jersey in my hand. I think I had his Adam's apple. And I said, Shrivey, you're a junior now. Another year you're going to be a senior. Another year you're going to be a lieutenant. I said, someday do you want to be a general, Shrivey? You can't talk. I said, Shrivey, this is Saturday. And you want to be a goddamn general? You're not going to see Sunday, Shrivey, if you shoot the ball one more time. Now, have I made that? I can't say it in Spanish. You understood what the hell I told you. Nods his head. Well, I'm playing. Best defensive player I've ever coached. About 5 years ago, he and his wife Nancy bring their oldest boy to my basketball game. And they send him over to me. It's a registration. They make him come up and introduce himself. And he does so. And I said, let me tell you something. I said, your dad is probably the best defensive player that I've ever coached. And he looked me right in the eye and he said, that's what he says, but I want you to know that I shoot a lot better than you. Roll. We're playing Canada in the second game.